Oh,
Okay, we got Dom is here now, and Bob, and Dave's gonna be
Bob's going to help you along as well. So
perfect. Perfect.
okay,
Welcome.
you guys are live on YouTube.
Okay, thank you.
Just make sure.
Bob, I like that you had a
All right, guys.
picture of a
Oh
picture
yeah,
of
he's got a
himself.
screen. That's right. He has no green screen. I forgot about that.
Oh, okay. He was playing with us.
So remember, make sure you go in and to each attendee, make them a panelist.
Okay.
All right, guys. See you later.
Thank you, Dave.
Thank you. Bye.
Ciao. Okay. Welcome to the second meeting of the Suburban Chicago Apple Users Group Photography Special Interest Group, or SIG as it's nicknamed. So what we've got today is a presentation from let's see, I would think that Jerry would be called a professional in iPhoneography. I think that's a word he invented. Is that right, Jer?
Somebody else invented it, but be careful how you say it.
Oh, it's,
iPhoneography.
yes, iPhoneography. And mobile photography. So we're going to have a presentation from Jerry tonight, and I'm looking forward to it, where he's got an awful lot of great information and insights on how to work that. Jeff Shivey and I are the co-leaders of this special interest group, and we hope to hear from all of the people who are participating. Any questions you might have, you can put in the Q&A section, and I will make sure.
No, we can't use Q&A because they're making them participants.
Oh,
Yeah.
we don't do that, huh?
They're
No,
all
you can't.
panelists.
Okay.
They're all panelists.
All right, here we go.
Oh, well, then they just need to speak up and ask their question.
Yep,
That's it.
please.
That's right. Okay.
So everybody, if you'd like to unmute, please do. And if you have a question, just speak up, and we'll try to answer your question. Otherwise, you can hold until a spot where Jerry has a little bit of break in the topic, and then we can handle the question at that point.
Okay. So, Jeff, are there any other business before we just invite Jerry to start the planet rolling?
No, I think we can allow Jerry to go ahead.
Okay. Ed Booth, you're muted.
Okay.
Go ahead, Jerry.
Okay. Why am I not coming on?
You are.
You're here. It's just that
Change your view.
I'm seeing on your screen is the Zoom rather than the Zoom on Safari that you started with.
Okay.
In your panel, are you on a Mac?
So you're screen sharing right here, new share.
Yeah. And
You're sharing. You're sharing. We can see your screen.
But all we're seeing is Safari. What are you seeing?
I'm not sure.
Change your view, Jerry.
Huh?
If you can't see what you're sharing your screen. So everything that's on your screen, we are seeing.
Live. Okay.
So
all
minimize
right.
Safari and get whatever your presentation up, and you'll be all set, sir.
Okay. New share. I'll go ahead and do the bit here. Log in. Just a second. Full cable. Share. Okay.
All right, now we've got it going.
Now we have it going here. Well, the wonders of mobile photography are here, and it's not going away. And so we're gonna do a couple things tonight. And first of all, I'm going to help you set up your phone. And this is important, your cell phone. And so that you get some results here. And if you scroll down with me on your own cell phone, in your hand, I'm assuming you have your cell phone there. You scroll down, and this is in settings. So all you have to have is settings. And you're going to go all the way down to where it says music, TV, photos, camera, and you're going to click on camera. Okay. And then this is what comes up. I hope you can stay with me now. And that's where I'm at right now. And turn on the grid. That's the tic-tac-toe game. And it's part of a reminder for composition, and it helps give you tension to a photo so you don't bullseye everything. So go ahead and do that. Turn it on. Scan QR codes, use it or don't, turn it on. Okay. Now the next one is very important, whether you redo video or not. It says record video. So I'm going to click on that. There's a flyout here. And there's the whole list of things that you can do. Now, you may not have the possibility to go 4K at 60 frames a second. I think everybody should be able to do 1080 at 30 or 60 frames. Really old phones can only do 720. So step up to 1080 at 60 frames a second. If you have the latest, greatest, and you can get 4K, that means it's 3 times more than 1080. That's 4,000. So I'm going to step at the highest, okay? And it's really an important thing, very important thing. Okay, so now I'll go back to camera here. And we got the video set. Record slow motion. This is when you do really fast frames per second and then it slows it down. And you can set that up however you want it. You don't have to set that as higher resolution. Record stereo sound. If you have that option, why not? Now formats. This is a big one. And I'm going to put it in here. And most compatible is JPEG. JPEG has been around for 20 years and probably be around for another 20 years. But Apple has produced this high efficiency. And I have not had a problem at all with high efficiency. What it is, it's this new HEIF format. And it also is an 8-bit instead of a 6-bit file. So it's a higher quality, more colors in the file than a JPEG, and it takes up less room in storage. Now, I was hesitant at first, but after consulting with a lot of high-end users, photographers, I've only had one problem. It was a student who switched, and she was working in Milwaukee and recording various shows, productions and so forth. And then she would send it to this company who then would send out advertising for that show using her thing. And they were using PCs and they had other things going, and they just somehow it wouldn't switch over for them, or they didn't want to switch over. I said, just go back to most compatible. So that's an option that you have there, okay? Go back to camera. That's an option. Photos captured outside the frame. I haven't found an actual use for that myself, so I just leave it turned off. But now the next one down here is Smart HDR. And by clicking this, if the computer in your phone thinks that you need high dynamic range, it will automatically do it. And also, it will do a file that is not HDR. Now, what is HDR? Well, it's the Ansel Adams zone system done automatically. And I was hesitant to just leave it turned on all the time, but I found out, well, if it works, fine. When I really want HDR for an important photo, very important to me, I will either use the HDR in another application called Pro Photo, or I will go to Lightroom Mobile and use it and even shoot in like a raw file if I want to. And I will get really good HDR. And I'll show some examples later of what it does for you. It's just tremendous. But, you know, as somebody told me, well, if it does it automatically, if it needs it, and how does it need it? Well, let's say you're in your dining room, you're celebrating a birthday or something, and the shades are open and the bright light is coming in. And inside the dining room, you have the lighting. And what happens, everything outside this room atmosphere here that I have in my room, for instance, or your room, will be one thing. But if HDR sets in, then you can actually see the picture that's outside the window also, because it tones down that super bright light. Ansel had another way of doing it, a very complicated way, but wasn't complicated really. So I am going ahead and using it. Now, what I'm going to do, I'm going to get out of settings and just go back to my regular camera and show you what I see on my camera. Let me move this out of the way here. So this is the latest, greatest camera. And right here, the first thing, and I tell people, turn it off. That's a flash. You really don't want to use the flash. There are certain circumstances that it really helps. You're out in the bright sunlight and the light's behind the person and you need to fill in the face. You'll know if you need it. Otherwise, always turn it off or the computer won't adjust in here to help you. And that's really important. And then if you have the latest, greatest, there's a little gray like a TP here. And if I click on that, then I get all kind of options down here where I can see other things like I can pick square, 6x9 panel, 4x3 is pretty much the standard. There's also 3:2, which is double that, and that's a 4x6. Scrapbookers will use that, but 4x3 is probably what you want to use. Now I'm going to get out of here. It's just kind of confusing if you don't have it. Turn that arrow upside down. And then the next thing over here is live view. And I'll show you a live view picture today, or quite a few of them. And it's a special thing. If you have it turned on all the time, it's a pain in the butt. Because then the picture starts and there's like a 2-second or 1.5-second video and a jerk. So it's really a pain. Leave it turned off unless you need it. And down the road, maybe end of the year in 2021, we'll do another thing and do a whole thing on live view and a couple other things. Down here is all of your things that you can do: slow motion, video, portrait, panoramic. Just leave it there in the regular position of photo, so it's ready to go. And then here, right here, are the lenses that I have. Now, some of you may have two positions there. You may have 1X, which is a regular built-in wide-angle lens, which is handy. And then the 2 is 2 times telephoto. Really handy. And then now, because this is the latest, greatest, because the new one hasn't come out, this here is a super wide. Super wide. It is incredible how wide. I'm in a dining room here, and I can almost get the whole dining room through that. But I leave mine set always on the normal lens. So when I pick up my phone, I'm ready to shoot and ready to go. So now I'm going to get out of this and just go to camera. Well, if I go to camera and I want to take a picture, I am ready to shoot. Everything's ready to go. But I'm going to show you probably one of the most important things if you have time or take the time to take a better picture. And as you see, if I'm, let's say if I'm taking a picture of this computer screen right here. Is the screen showing up on your computer?
Yeah.
Yes?
Yeah.
Okay. If I put my finger on that screen and hold it, you see that AEAF lock?
Yes.
That means I now have locked the focus, unless I move. If I move forward or backward, touch the screen and break it and reset it. So if I move forward or backwards, but I have set where I want the focal point. I hit it right there. Hold my finger until that thing comes up. There it is. Now it's locked. Now I take my finger off. I can move my finger up and down and change the exposure. This is called manual operation. Takes a little time, but you can get a better picture. You notice how I'm jiggling a little bit? Notice? That would be bad for taking a picture. How do I stop the jiggling? Okay, I put my elbows against my ribs. I hold the camera in one hand. I take the other hand and put it down on the bottom of my inside hand and touch, hold still, take the picture. It's pretty hard to hold it out way in front of you and take a picture steady. And even if I'm in the position, I'll show you another way here. If I go sideways. But if I do this, I hold it kind of like a claw. I want you to see my hand. Well, I guess I can't show the hand. I have one finger above, one finger below, 3 fingers, 2 fingers back here, and a thumb here, and take with the opposite hand. Now, for the most part, because Apple has their cameras in one corner, I try to always have that camera at the top. Even if I go sideways, horizontal, I keep it at the top. Now, if I want to really get down low in the ground for a little tiny, it could be a little mushroom, it could be in Door County, they have these real tiny little iris things, marsh iris. It's a unique flower or a lady slipper. Then I actually get it real low, almost so it's touching the grass. And then I turn it upside down because I can always rotate the picture. But holding still, and I know people said, oh, use the volume control. Well, I push the volume control. Whoa, yeah. It's hard to push that and not move the camera. That's why I say, you know, when I was a kid growing up playing baseball in the St. Louis area, they call it Corey League down there. It was 2 hands for beginners. This is 2 hands for everyone. Hold still, 2 hands. This thing is so light. So bump the other hand against the other hand, keep your elbows against yourself, and you'll have no problems whatsoever. Now, I've just gone through setting the camera, shooting in manual mode. And I've got one more setting to go. So I'll get out of the camera, go to the gearbox, go to the settings, and scroll down again to where you see that camera, and right above it is photos. Touch that. Now, I'll show you how mine is set. And you can do as you please. Because I buy some cloud time, my wife buys about $1.95 a month or something. And I don't know how many thousands she's got, but it's really pretty cheap. And then you pay by the year, so you don't have to do it every month. I get maximum because I have a lot of photos. And then coming down to the next, optimize iPhone storage or download and keep originals. Download and keep the originals because that's your negative. If you screw up editing something, you want that original to stay there. If you don't, you can take it off, but you want to keep that original. And then upload to my photo stream. Well, I have it turned on. I haven't had, what the photo stream means basically is that when I take a picture here, it will migrate over to my iPad and my computer. So I've got it in 3 locations. I want that. I want that connection. I think Bob brought that up a year ago or 2. But this is
I turned that off. You don't need it. I don't think you need it anymore because everything is going to iCloud Photos. If you're using iCloud Photos, then it's just redundant.
And it could be redundant, but I have left it on. Okay, thank you, Bob. Upload burst photos. Well, I don't do burst that much. And now with our new photos, the burst is a little different. And we won't go into that. But if I have a situation that I see, I know what's going to happen, there's going to be movement, and I want to catch that movement, but I want to still picture it. I don't want to miss it. And burst, when you do burst, the quality of the images are lower. They're definitely lower because it's not as high as whatever your highest resolution of your particular model phone is. So, but I have it turned on in case I have it for some reason. Then shared albums. Create albums to share with other people and subscribe to other people and so forth. Okay, and then if I scroll down some more, autoplay videos and live photos. Yeah. View full HDR. Yeah. Okay. Transfer to a Mac or PC, automatic. And that's what we were just talking about here. It's basically, you turn that on and you're going to be pretty automatic. And that's basically about it as far as our settings. So now we've covered photos, we've covered the camera, and you're pretty much good to go now and start taking pictures if you can hold still. And now number 5, and some people, this is kind of hard to accept, but you may take a photo and not touch it for anything. And I know in Dom's situation, his life depended upon taking a good photo, and we want to do the best when we take the photo. Good composition, good exposure, everything. But sometimes it doesn't happen. And as I quote Ansel Adams, good photographs are made, not taken. And so any photo that I share with anybody, unless it's something that I know would be in a legal sense, because I'm not and have never been a photojournalist, everything I edit to some degree. And what can I say? I can show you some of my photos if you want to see a few and what I'm talking about, but everything has been edited to my taste. Now, my taste may be overbearing to some people, but I think we each establish the style. And by the way, I forgot to show everybody this. And, but in my little picture here, I'll turn this on. I have electronic pen for my iPhone and for editing and so forth. Now, it's not the $100 one that I have for my iPad 12.5, which has touch control, but this is really nice for doing editing. And I thought, any questions right now?
Yeah, Bob, Jerry, if you wanted to, you know, as long as you're screen sharing, you're really tiny to be showing us the pen and stuff. You should be off and on to do that when you're presenting it on the Zoom.
Okay. Okay.
But meanwhile, Jerry, while you're on the iPhone yet, Dom was asking, could you show him how to adjust the exposure again?
Yes. Yes. I'll go to the camera and I'll aim over to the side of the room here. And first of all, let's say the chair was something important. It's an Amish-made chair over from Shipshewana. But let's say there was a scratch on it. And so I'm going to put my finger on the top part of the chair and hold it. And you see that AEAF lock that came up there? Oh. Let's see here.
Yep.
Okay. Now, I've taken my finger off, but I haven't moved forwards or backwards. So I'm not changing the focus. Now, I just put my finger on there, any place on the side, and I can adjust just real fast the exposure. So I'm not letting the camera decide. I, as a photographer, want to decide what I think is the best exposure. After I do that, I take the picture. Now, if I happen to move closer, then I have to touch the screen. I want to really get in close and hold it down again, because now I'm closer. And if I move back, just touch the screen and go away. And maybe I'm going to focus on this little imperfection in the table here. Focus lock, exposure, and then take the picture. How's that help, Dom? Okay. All right.
Yes, that's fine. I just didn't see the little yellow line with the starburst there.
Okay.
Missed that. Thank you very much.
Jerry, could you explain a little bit more detail my photo stream?
What's that?
Could you explain a little bit more about my photo stream?
I can if you need me to, Jerry.
My photo stream?
Right.
Photo streaming, yeah, the setting.
Oh, okay, the settings, okay. Let's go into settings here again, okay. And go down here. I went too fast. Here it is. Photo. Upload to my photo stream. Upload your last 30 days of new photos to view them on your other devices using my photo stream photos from other devices that can be viewed in the My Photo Stream album, but are not automatically saved to the library. Bob has brought up an issue that I really hadn't thought much about, because the way it's set up now, we don't need it. Is that what you're saying, Bob?
Yeah, correct. So PhotoStream was there basically before iCloud Photo Library was around. And it was a fast way of getting photos between devices. But now if you're using iCloud Photo Library, it's different if you're not using that. But if you're using iCloud Photo Library, I'm sure that Apple turns my photo stream off by default. You just don't need it, because you take a picture, it goes up to the cloud and then back down to your other devices. So
okay. Okay.
But one thing about, if I could add, if you had it on and you want to turn it off, you're going to get a message that says turning off photo stream will delete all photo stream photos from your iPhone.
Yep.
All right. Does that mean that's gone?
It's, remember, as long as they're in, and you could test it, right? You could test it, turn it on, take a picture, check it's your iCloud photo library, turn it off, and that one picture will go away from PhotoStream, but it won't go away from your iCloud photo library. So go ahead and
Okay.
test it. Should be
Is
just
the
fine.
Is the iCloud photo library the library that I have pointed my photos app on the Mac to, which is on an external hard drive?
Okay, so let's this isn't quite photography. This is more,
Well,
is
it's-
broader, but
the
it's
erasure
relative.
that-
So if Jerry, you want me to talk about this, or you want to talk about this, or what do you want to do?
Let me say this.
Yeah.
I pay I pay for memory in the cloud. Do you pay for
Storage.
memory in the cloud, Frank?
Yes. Yeah, I do.
Storage, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And so there's sort of a duplication here. I just have left it turned off.
Okay.
I haven't turned it off. But Bob was saying that if I turn it off, it'll say, turning off your photo stream will delete the photo stream photos from your phone.
I would say don't do that. Don't do it right now, okay? Because you haven't done a test. So I just want to make sure everything's fine. I haven't used that since iCloud Photo Library came out. I don't want to screw anything up in your system. I can't guarantee what the rest of your system is doing. I just know that I don't use that. Okay.
Okay. No problem. I'll figure it out.
The
Okay.
question, Bob,
Yeah.
if you have this iCloud photos, if that's green, then that means that you're paying for storage or you're using that.
Not necessarily if you don't have enough pictures to not overflow your storage, but very few people. I mean, I'm sure that Jerry and I both have a lot of photos. I've got somewhere around 50,000 images in my library, and I'm using almost half a terabyte of storage on iCloud Photo Library with photos and videos. So, although it's amazing how much slower it's growing now that we have this new compressed image format, it's just amazing how little space they take up.
One of the issues with that I might bring up though is if you're taking a picture of an item you're going to sell on Facebook Marketplace or Let Go or something, they don't accept the picture when it's in that format because nobody has.
The normal process you use for if you take a photo and drag it out, okay. So you take a photo out of Photos, drag it to the desktop, you'll find it'll create, it's creating the appropriate photos for where things are going. So if you if you take a photo and drag it from Photos to say Mail, it'll be a JPEG. If you export it as the original, it'll be an HEVC. And so you may not want that for where it's going. And that's probably what Jerry's person was doing. She was probably dragging them out.
Right. Okay.
Not dragging them out, but anyway.
Okay.
So Apple Photos the Photos app is a big topic for you guys at some point.
Yes, it is. It's a meeting in itself.
Yes. Yeah, and I didn't want to derail too far.
Right. Let's get back to
taking those pictures.
Just before we move on, I want to let everybody know that you can unmute yourself and ask a question. So we do have a question from Richard, Jerry. Richard is asking, do you use any other photo apps? Example like Snap Photo or ProCam and why would you use them?
Okay, that's a good question. I probably have 300 applications on my phone. And I've sent Jeff a sheet that I usually hand out at different workshops I do of probably 20 of my best apps that I use all the time, because I want the easiest way to fix things. And I'm going to demonstrate. I'm going to take a picture for you tonight and demonstrate how I fix a picture. And the application, let me put it this way. If I open a picture up, let me find one here that, just a second.
You got to find one that
here,
you're touching.
okay, here's one right here. A real problem picture. Okay. If I try and use the edit applications, now the edit is right up here at the top. Edit. And this is what Apple gives us. As a photographer, it's not adequate. And it's awkward. Do I use this sometimes? Do I know how to use it? Yes. But I want to simplify my life, not complicate my life. And that's why I end up using what I do here with certain applications. Now, Google bought all of the Nik filters, plug-in filters. They kept one and took it away from the computer and left it only for mobile devices, Android and Apple. Thank goodness, because it is the most unique, heavy-handed, wonderful processor and easy to learn. And I'm going to show you, this is really a bad image. One of my former students, I won't give her name out, but it was so important to her to get this fixed because her best friend was on this riverboat trip with her. They shot this picture and her friend was real sick and she said she wants a copy of that picture so bad. She said, I'm so ashamed. I don't know how in the world she vignetted this whole thing on an iPhone. I have no idea, but she did it, and all these other problems. And I'm going to show you right now why I use Snapseed, one word, okay? And this is a problem photo. First of all, I'm looking at a photo and down here at the bottom, we have that arrow with a box. I touch it and it says, copy the photo. So I copied it. So now I'm going to go out of here and then I'm going to go to Snapseed, which I have located right here on the first page because I use it so often. I touch Snapseed, tap anywhere to open a photo, and now I copied it. Because I copied it, it says paste image. It wouldn't say that if I hadn't copied it. But you can open from the device. You don't have to do that. But now I pasted the image, and now here I am, ready to do something to this really problem photo. This kind of gets in my way. Can you see this thing I'm moving around? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And now down below here, you see Looks, Tools, Export. I want to pick the tools because I want to have control. Looks are defaults. They're kind of complicated. It's a fast way to make glitzy different things, but I'm not in control. And I want to be in control because control is so easy here. So I'll go and hit Tools. Hit Tools. And there are 28 of these things. 28 of them. Well, there's no way I'm going to show you 28 of the tools tonight because, first of all, you don't need them. But they all have a little thing that can help on some things. But first of all, and this is my workflow. Let me tell you, this is my workflow. Let me get out of this here. Look at the picture again. And if I look at this picture, I can see that those skyscrapers are leaning. Now, believe me, it costs millions or billions of dollars. That's at the end of the river there, where it goes two different directions. And those things are not leaning. In my workflow, that's the first thing I do. If something is leaning, If we take a picture of Lake Michigan and the water is going uphill, we didn't hold the camera straight when we took a picture of Lake Michigan, okay? So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna take tools, and this is the first tool if it needs it. The old adage, maybe your grandfather told you, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Well, this is broke. So I'm gonna go in here, and there's a tool called perspective, and I'm gonna touch it. And then there's a thing called down here, because I know I can see now with the lines that it came in, and if you can look on my example, of the tall skyscraper on the left, you see how it's crooked? I'll hit rotate. And then I just drag my finger until I line up that skyscraper right there, and my finger's still on the picture. Now you notice the upper right corner, there's a black spot. And you notice at the bottom left corner, there's a black spot. Watch what happens when I take my finger off. It's just like your expensive Photoshop program. It's called content aware fill. So I don't have to crop off those corners. Otherwise, you got to crop. If I just tried to use the thing in Apple, then I'd have to crop and do all other kinds of things. I would probably crop anyway, but that's the first thing. And now we can do all different directions. But I'm going to just show you that's the first thing I always look. Is it straight? And I don't care if it's a horizontal picture or if it's a picture that's a vertical like this. I want it straight. And I don't know if Dom can do this or not, in this kind of editing. I'm sure that he did, or somebody had to do it in the newsroom. But it's straight now. Now I'm looking at the picture and think, gosh, look at that terrible spot at the top. I'm going to have to crop. But if I crop all that black off, I'm going to get pretty close to the top of the skyscrapers, and I want to end up with some sky there. And then the bottom, well, the bottom third of the picture is useless as far as I'm concerned. And there's a lot of work that can be done, but notice over here, there's some algae or something. It's terrible. And this is all negative space, so I don't need much of that. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to, first of all, down at the bottom right, I'm going to lock this in, hit the check mark. So I've locked in what I did, don't lose it. I go to tools again. And the upper right-hand side is called crop. So now what I'm going to do is a free crop. I'm not obligated to make a square picture, a 4x3, 2x6, or anything else. So I just do free crop. And I'm going to take the bottom and really crop from the bottom up here. I'll touch it so it's out of the way. And I'm going to make my life easy. I'm going to just crop that out. I still have plenty of negative space there. Now I'm going to crop down the top. And I'm going to go pretty much kind of like that. Now I look at the right side of the picture. It's okay. The left side, well, there's a little busyness over there. I'll probably crop in there a little bit. Keep life simple as much as you can. Now I still get some stuff up there. That's okay. That doesn't bother me. And I'll show you why. But now down here at the bottom, I've got to lock it in. I'm not saving anything. I'm just locking it in. So now I'm going to go to a tool. It's called Healing Tool, just like in Photoshop. Healing. And now what I'm going to do, I'm going to start rubbing up here and get rid of it. Sometimes it doesn't work. Yeah, lock this in. Tools, healing. And then I'm just going to take my finger and start rubbing up there. And sometimes I mess with it too much. Ain't too bad, but if I don't like it, I can just go backwards and do it again.
Stop, Jerry, you did good enough.
And so I'm going to do it again.
Jerry, this is Dom. This was your student's photo, correct?
This is my student photo, yeah.
Okay. Believe it or not, being in a really old time, archaic photojournalist from way back, and we were only allowed to tone and do just so much. And I think what you did with the perspective was fantastic. I loved it, and thanks very much for that. But you know something, it looks like she took a picture out of a portal or something, and I think that original photo taken with the frame really added something to the picture. And I probably wouldn't have brought up the crop that much on the river. I would have left it more, because photojournalists just hate square photos. They like long rectangle photos. You know, we have been shooting pictures in our cameras we've been using 16:9 format, and we didn't even know we were using 16:9 format. I mean, we've been shooting in Panavision our whole lives and never knew it. But you know something, yeah. Jerry, I kind of found the framed portals very attractive look.
Well, I have one where I look through a window down at the
give her the benefit. I like what you did here, but also leave the portal in here and give her both formats and let her choose.
Well, she didn't want it in there.
Okay, so okay. I didn't know that. I'm sorry, I didn't know that.
Okay, now
I would have left a little more. River in there, just to leave it a little more rectangle. There's just more life in a rectangle photo than there is in a square photo.
Okay.
But that's just me. But
I think that's why we call it the art of photography.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to move ahead.
It's all very subjective, and you can. There's a million ways to have a picture, but the perspective thing was absolutely spectacular, fantastic.
Okay, now, what's the next one, Dom? This one I love too. You know, there's a thing here called tune image. It's the first one in the upper left-hand side. Now, there's an old saying, put the emphasis on the right syllable. An English teacher may have told you that. Well, I'm going to put an emphasis on that sky. I love that sky. I love that sky.
The sky is wonderful.
Because I want to.
It's wonderful.
And so whenever you have a dull sky, folks, in any picture, if you go to tune image, and then here's all the parameters here. I'm going to go to highlights. If you pull down the highlights and pull down, make it darker. So I'll pull from my finger will go from here to here, or as much as I want to do it. Look what that does.
Yeah, wonderful.
Whoa,
yeah, wonderful.
That's too much.
Very nice.
Whoa, if I can go the other way and kill it. But you know, I'll settle for, and I don't worry about numbers. I've been just showing you my personal taste here. But then I click down here and lock it in again.
Yeah, great.
And I'm just showing you one of the things that I would do.
But Jerry, our whole lives in photography, and Bob knows this too, especially in wedding photography, there are so many accidental pictures that we take that turn us into really great photographers. We don't say it, but we say to ourselves, you know, that was a really nice accident that we found out in that picture. And there's so much in photography that's accidental that makes us great photographers and great photojournalists. And I would strongly go back to her and try to convince her that that picture with the framed portholes, through the portholes, was a spectacular accident on her part. It's really tell her what she did, Jerry. Tell her what she did was a spectacular accident. And sometimes the universe gives us things that we have to understand are really great happenings.
Yeah, yeah, oh yeah.
Serendipity is your friend.
Now, I'm going to show you another thing here. And this is exciting. Dom, have you ever used Photoshop?
Oh, every day.
Okay.
But I use it to fix things and make things better, but I don't manipulate too much. I still go back to my roots of photojournalism, and I
Sure.
tone things like that sky. I accentuate the sky. I would lighten the river a tiny bit, but just not too much. And that's it. Too much is just too much. And
Yeah. Well, now I'm going to show you something that you may like.
Yeah.
I'm going to go to a tool here. And up here, the second one up here is called Details. And I'll touch Details. And the first thing that comes up is Structure. Now, Adobe calls this Clarity, Mid-tone Contrast. Well, you know, the people that made this up to start out, they call it Structure. It's the same thing. I guess they didn't want to use Adobe's name. But it's mid-tone contrast. Now, I only have two things in here, structure and sharpening. Now, if I sharpen that sky, it's going to look terrible. Yeah. Skies are not sharpened. It's going to look pixelated. So I only want to sharpen those buildings. I'm going to sharpen those buildings up a little bit. So here's how I'm going to do it. I'm going to take and go from left to right, and I'm going to blow it up a little bit so I can really see what's happening here. And that's enough. I don't have to go overboard, but a little bit. Okay, and then I'm going to go to structure and I'll move that up a little bit too. But now I can see where that sky is getting a little pixelated. So I'll lock it in. Now this is something, if you're a high-end Photoshop user, you've heard of layer masking. I don't want to talk down to anybody, but it's a Photoshop thing. So now if I look up above here, see the looks like a bunch of layers here with a crooked arrow. I'll touch that. Go down to the bottom, it says View Edits. And there's all the steps I've taken to fix this picture. Okay, so just from original, perspective, blah, 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 blah. Details. I'm going to hit on details, and on details there's a little arrow, and there is right there a brush tool. Now, I'm going to blow this up a little bit, so my tool is a little smaller, and let me turn my pencil on here. And I'm going to start brushing in here, and it kind of fades out. It looks like I'm a little sloppy, but it won't make that much difference. And I'll brush over here, and I'm just going to brush those things that I want sharpened. Down here a little bit, down here, over here a little bit. I'll move it over here. Get this building here. And I'm going kind of fast. I can go slower. If I go like that, then I've got to go down here, take it to 0 and clean it off. And we'll go back here to 100%. Keep it right here. Okay. Now what's happened, I touch here, and it only sharpened those things where I painted in. And here, these are like, in Adobe, we call these layers. They call them something else, but I call them layers because that's where I've been. I've been in Adobe so much. And I could disregard that. I could take out the crop. I could take out some of this other stuff, you know, and I can change each one, or I can even go here and hit the trash can for just that one thing. But now I want to get out of this. So I'll touch this little arrow up here to get out of that angle. And now this is the most important thing in Apple. We're not talking about Androids now, Apple. And down at the bottom down here, let me move this thing again, it gets in my way. There's a word export. So I'm going to click on export, and this is so important. You don't save it. You save as a copy the changes you can undo. That means the original or your negative is untouched, and we're saving it as a copy. So I still have both things. And now it's going through and saved. Now I saved the whole thing. And there was my end of my image. Now, as far as my decision-making process, that was my process. And, you know, everybody's going to have a different take on it, and especially a photojournalist. And you want to tell the true story. And as he said, square is not good. And when I think square, I think of different politicians' heads.
Well,
But,
Jerry, I apologize for interrupting. The one of the reasons that a lot of photojournalists, when you shoot for newspapers and stuff, it has to be very, very, very quick, and you make quick decisions, and you have to see things very quickly, size it up, shoot it, get it in the paper, edit it, all that stuff in a very short time, because as you know, we are always on deadline. Deadline is everything. But what I was referring to earlier with the frame pictures of the portal, those portals that she shot through gives some definite points of view, and the depth of field between the frame and the picture gives that picture so much more life than just a two-dimensional picture of buildings at the end of I guess that was Wolf Point too, where I worked.
Sure.
Right now it looks kind of two-dimensional and flat, whereas the portal, the framed portal, gives it depth of field and gives it some depth and life to the photo. And that was the only thing that's the only thing I wanted to bring up. That's all.
Okay. I'm going to show you a few pictures, and this is, of course, an artistic rendering of the metro train going in to downtown to the train center. And it was kind of a funny day. And so I put a little mystery in it. And this is my rendition of traveling. And how did I do that? I just got out of my seat, walked right up to the door with an iPhone. Nobody paid any attention to me.
I like it, Jerry. I like it.
Here's a night photo taken of somebody, one of the theater artists, light persons, had a show one summer, and people were walking around in it, and shot at night. I didn't change the distortion of the buildings at all. It was after dark, and here's one up in Door County.
The picture at the train station. How did you get the tonality colors in the shot?
Okay,
it's like your photo took some LSD or something, you know?
Okay, yeah, that's another thing that, and I have a list of apps that I use, and that happens to be used one called Distressed FX. And,
okay.
And Jeff has those right now. We'll find out how to hand those out to people.
Yeah, we're going to make those available for everybody, and you'll get notice out on Discourse.
And here's a typical thing. I was being a little arty with this the Ludington tugboat that's kind of a museum up there, and put a kind of an artistic frame around it, an organic frame. This isn't overdone, but I made the room look older. This is the Pabst Mansion in Milwaukee, a beautiful place to visit. Here is the last McDonald's, the first McDonald's, and it was artistic rendering I did for a permanent exhibit in the Maine Township Counseling Department. She wanted very colorful stuff, so that's overly worked. And she just loved it. I showed her a straight picture. Oh no, I want colors. more happy looking, what she thought was happy looking. Here's just a place in Des Plaines, Illinois, early in the morning. Colors are a little overemphasized, but not much. Here's a garden. And this I call the Alfred Hitchcock lighthouse. This is Portsmouth Lighthouse, one of the lighthouses that George Washington commissioned. It was a terrible day. I put the grain in and I put the birds in. Here's an incredible, shows some of the skills of some of the early settlers. And this is one of the colonial houses, and the circular staircase was unbelievable. There's the Art Institute, Chicago. Here is, most of you have been to this. This is the Opera House, the Lyric Opera. Of course, it wasn't originally called, it was called the Civic Opera. But when you take a picture and you're standing 5'8" or 6 foot something, the parallels aren't going to be straight. And that's where that one portion in Snapseed, that you can straighten those out. That's how I straighten them out. And there's using a fisheye lens, looking out from the 74th floor. It was a private club I got into one day. And just from the, and actually this was a cheap lenses. I have the good lenses now. Look how sharp it is. That's a fisheye lens. There's up in Door County, it's a little Norwegian stave church. Everybody takes the front door of the church, which it wasn't too exciting for me, even though it was hand carved. I went out in the timber and the woods here and shot the back to see the unique formation of the building. There's, of course, in black and white, there's the wood carving that they did and shipped it over from Norway. And this is a friend for actually 35 years. He was a set designer for the Lyric Opera and also for the Goodman Theater. And he had parts of old barns put together, and I shot a picture. They live in Wilmette, but this is their summer area up here, and they have, it's an interesting family, and I won't go into it. And this is an old building that was a shack that they had for the migrant workers to pick cherries 50, 60 years ago. It's a museum in Sister Bay, and I put it in black and white, so it really shows how bad the conditions they gave for those black people. Some of you have gone north, and you cross into Wisconsin. On the left-hand side, you see an old military boneyard. You can get in, and there's tanks in there, there's Jeeps. This is the inside of a Corvair military transport helicopter. And that was done in HDR because the light coming in from those windows was so bright. And then yet I got all the shadow details in there using the HDR. Here's Yellowstone, a couple. He was injured and walking down another Yellowstone picture. This is early in the morning. This is not altered at all, Dom.
Yes.
I got out, guy turned around I was riding with, and he turned around his truck, got his, by the time he got his tripod out, got his camera on the tripod, 800 or 825 big boy camera. I shot the picture. By the time it was set up, it was gone. God raised was gone.
Well, I once again, I strongly believe that the universe puts us where we are supposed to be all the time. You were supposed to be there, and you were there. You got it. You got the shot, and that's everything in photography is get the shot. And
at the right place at the right time, at the right
place at the right time, and don't think that the universe didn't put you there, because the universe put you there, or it let you be there so that you could get that. So you were supposed to be there at that time. And one more question about megapixels, which transfers to sharpness. In an age where cameras are getting higher and higher megapixels, tell us the justification for your Pro 10X Max with so much megapixels, where other cameras, the Nikons and the Canons, are adding more and more megapixels, and your stuff seems to be as sharp as it needs to be with your handheld computer that has a camera app and has a telephone app, because that's what we have now. We have handheld computers that has a telephone app and a camera app. But how do you justify your megapixels on your phone as opposed to the higher end megapixels in higher end Nikons and Canons?
Well, first of all, this was taken on an iPhone 7. And probably if I took this on the iPhone 11 Pro, you wouldn't see all that grain probably in the sky, because they have a night mode, and this never had a night mode. That nighttime mode, if there's a little light, boy, it nails it. But you got to hold still. You have to hold still, because it may take up to 3 pictures and automatically put them together. Walking around with a big boy camera, I don't have a big boy camera anymore. I have a micro 4/3 camera, because I'm getting, I'm in my 80s now. But Dom and I have a mutual friend, and he's got the biggest Nikon camera now, 45 megapixel files.
Ugh.
And it's pretty sharp. But my pictures will be sharp also, and I can't blow them up as big as he can. But we downsized to a small little house, a retirement house here in Des Plaines here. We got out of a high rent district in Park Ridge. And quite frankly, I've only got one room that I can hang 60 by 20s with a 24 by 30 frame in. So I don't blow pictures up that big anymore, because I mostly share them with friends. And sometimes I tell them, if you like it, because usually I put my name on it now. I put a watermark. But, some of these pictures that you see on here will be pretty hard to know the difference on a lot of them. Here's a panoramic, using that panoramic. Notice how the panoramic is straight across. Panoramics really work well when you're not close to the horizon. Here's in one of the, this is on St. Simon's Island. And this is where in the olden days, where the horse and buggies came down through the Avenue of the Oaks, and to preserve them, they're trying to preserve them now, but they got roads on both sides. Dom, it took me 2 days to get smart enough to take this picture, because you can't take it midday. You got to take it early in the morning where light isn't streaming through the trees. You get that distraction.
Yeah, it's you have to go with what is called National Geographic Light, and National Geographic refuses to have any of their contract photographers or staff photographers shoot between 10 and 2. I mean, it is just absolutely forbidden to have any of their photographers take a picture outside between 10 and 2. It's garish light, it's horrible light, and it's not. National Geographic Light is early in the morning and late in the afternoon.
Unless you're in a cave.
Unless you're in a cave.
The cave here, by the way.
Sometimes you have to take what you get.
I was riding a little vehicle behind, and it was a Independence Cave. I never heard of it before. You heard of Onondaga Cave and all these other caves. Well, the Union had to find a place to hide its ammunition, and they used this cave. Missouri, or Missouri, as some of my wife's relatives call it, was a swing state. It was more of a Confederate state. And this is where they did some of the stuff, but it's a pretty sharp if I blow it up, this again was not the latest, greatest.
Hey,
And
Jerry,
of course, I traveled old Route 66. And
yeah.
there's another
Jerry, we've
relic.
got a question. We've got a question
Yeah.
out there from Marcia. She'd like to know, does the iPhone preserve metadata, and how would you get to see the metadata on an iPhone picture?
Oh, I have an application that shows all the metadata. And when you get that list, it's there. It shows all the metadata, all the metadata.
What's the name of it?
What's that?
The name of the app? Do you know what it is?
It's brand new to me. It's on the list.
We'll get
Okay,
that.
I'll
list
just
out
go
there,
down the
buddy.
list.
And Snapseed did not include that in their app,
No.
getting
no,
into the metadata?
no.
Apparently not.
Okay.
And I would,
Photoshop will tell it. Photoshop has an app for the phone. It's free.
yeah.
That has it.
This is up at the clearing where I've taught for years. Of course, everything was canceled this year. There's the Alamo.
Jerry, maybe we can open up for questions and answers from the whole group. See if anybody
Oh, wait,
has-
by the way, let me show you one picture here.
Okay.
And then let's open up group questions. I purposely, there was two boys and one left. And I didn't want to get the boy's picture because I was in a public location. But I leaned against a pillar in the building. This is the Fox Valley Shopping Center. They have a carousel in the middle of the shopping center. And what I did, I leaned against, I put an app called Slow Shutter, and I set it for about 3 or 4 seconds. He never moved. And then I get the carousels going around. And, I do a lot of things like this. The Splains Theater, which is now being rebuilt. Here's an old barn in Door County that's now torn down. Here's a macro lens put on, double exposure. Actually, my back end looks better than my front.
Jerry, what's the slowest we can shoot our iPhones at?
Slow shutter.
It's slow shutter, yeah.
About 20 seconds.
And how do we do that?
By the application called Slow Shutter.
Oh, okay. I meant just with our Prime iPhones.
I don't really know.
There's no, you can't change the shutter speed.
I didn't think
Down
so.
that low.
I didn't.
Yeah, you don't have any control.
You don't have the exposure triangle. We don't have it. We have ISO, and we don't have some other things. Now, by the way, this is a 10 times macro lens, and this is little blue stem native prairie grass taken in the rain. Isn't that incredible?
It's beautiful.
Blown up 10 times. Now here is a, kind of a photojournalism sort of picture. That's one of the new design train stops. Look at this, incredible.
Nice colors.
Look at the quality of this. Look at this.
Jerry, you don't love your iPhone.
Not
You love your iPhone and you love your pictures. You take beautiful pictures.
And now watch this. Watch this.
Live photo.
That's a live photo. And what I did, I set it, and then I used this picture because I like that milky look to it. That's live photo.
Well, if anybody out there, if anybody in the crowd has any questions or would like to discuss anything, please unmute and bring it up.
This is out of Africa.
Yeah,
Actually,
there's
it's a
two
sunset.
toys.
Little toys.
It's a sunset, and those are 2 toys from a dollar store and a weed stuck in the ground.
So Jerry, I don't know if the tool you're using is EXIF Master, that's one of them that can show you EXIF data. And there's it has paid for components, but you can download and install it and it'll give you basically everything you need. But you're right, Apple doesn't give us a good look at.
It's on the list that Jeff had.
Well, Jeff, show us the list.
Yeah, you could share a screen, can't you?
I
Or
could.
just throw it in the community real quick and
Yeah,
everybody.
we're going to
can
get
go
it up in the community.
Yeah, that's a good
Fair
idea.
enough. Is everybody on community?
Hey, Jerry,
If they're not, they can ask.
Okay.
Go ahead.
hello?
Yes.
Hi. On the iPad OS in Photos, there's a share panel option for view metadata. They don't provide that on the iPhone, but it is on the iPad. It doesn't give a whole lot, but it's better than nothing.
Correct.
Oh, good. Thank you.
Okay, thanks.
By the way, you see the picture that I have up right now?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's out of focus.
It's
It's blurred.
ICM. ICM. Intentional camera movement. I put a slow shutter on and then I practice and just move it up and down. It's an artistic effect.
It's beautiful.
It's purely photo art, but I have a whole series on ICM.
Sounds like a disease, Jerry. Do you have a disease? It's the love of photography. That's what it is.
Yeah, that could get pretty.
Yeah, he has the iPhoneography disease.
I call what you do, Jerry, visioneering. You engineer visuals.
This is a synagogue right across the street from Barack Obama and Michelle Obama's house in Hyde Park.
Hmm.
You see,
the day we were there, I think there was a lot of interest by the Secret Service to guard the house. What's this busload of people coming here going into the synagogue?
Are you
And
using
so I
an
tried to
extra
get-
wide angle clip-on lens here, Jerry? Or is this the wide angle from the phone itself?
That was a wide-on clip-on lens because that was before I had this camera.
Jerry,
Okay.
Jerry, do you see what you did there? You did the same thing in
This
that.
is the University of Chicago.
Hmm.
This is out in Syracuse, Indiana, some old barns, country roads. And this is taking pictures with a crystal ball.
Mm.
You gotta be careful with it because
How do you do
sun
that?
comes out, you can burn yourself.
How
Marcia
did,
asked, how do you do that?
That back picture, Jerry.
The crystal ball,
yeah.
well, what I did, my granddaughter tore off a couple of leaves and held it. And then I flipped the picture upside down because with the crystal ball, it would be crooked. It'd be crooked. And because I'm not using Photoshop and can twist it the other way, I just turned the picture upside down.
So,
Marcia, they sell crystal balls meant for use in photography. You could purchase them. They get very, very clear, very optically clear.
mhm.
And you take photos through them.
Incredible clear. Yeah. They come in two sizes. If you buy one, you want the large size. And this, I just reached up and I knew this butterfly was on my top of my head. I was in one of those butterfly tents
Mhm.
and got the picture. Now this is jazzed up. Pouring down rain. That's the old Joliet prison, about 20 feet from the gate that Elwood came out and the Blues Brothers. Rainy day, I'll have to admit, I put in the lightning. Now there's where Elwood came up. That's the gate where he came up, pouring down rain. Rockefeller Chapel, University of Chicago. This is ICM, intentional camera movement. I just made a blur. I call it monster.
Jerry, do you do a lot of macro photography?
Yeah.
You said sometime that there's a Lightroom camera app that allows you to have different lenses. You know, software lenses. And one of them is a macro lens.
I have the Moment lenses. They're pure glass. It's like having a Zeiss lens attached onto your camera.
But there's no artificial software macro camera adjustment in any of the apps that you have.
I can always adjust macro. Yeah, Snapseed will adjust macro. Yeah.
Now, Frank, there's no way to take software and convert an image to a macro because it just can't be done.
No, not really.
Well, yeah. Okay. There's Photoshop camera app that has a bunch of lenses that are apps that you pick the app and take your picture and it will affect it like it affects a lens.
Oh yeah, I've got an app that's 360. It turns your camera app into a 360 camera.
Right, right. So I'm just wondering if there's a macro app.
No, there is not. Well, not that I know of. This, by the way, is another. This is another live photo using that live photo tool that you have.
Mm-hmm.
I love fog. There's a new Art Institute thing. This is one of my highest selling pictures, believe it or not. It's called One on the Bright Side.
I got a question. Ooh.
Yeah, Marcia.
I've been seeing on Facebook people having 3D photos. Does anyone know if that's just a feature you can turn on in Facebook, or if they're taking those pictures with like a 360 camera and that's why you're able to pan it and see around? Or does the iPhone 11 Pro or whatever have that 3D feature? Or
well, the 3D function in Facebook, you could put a regular photo up there and turn on the 3D capability. And it's a software illusion that allows you to move it slightly from side to side, giving it a 3D look. But you can also place a true 360-degree shot photo that's done on a 360 camera. You could put that up onto onto Facebook, I'm sorry. And then you can actually look around the whole picture, up, down, left, right, behind you, because it is a true 360 picture. So there are two different things. You got 360 and you have 3D.
okay.
Now there are some cameras out there that have multiple lenses that are called 3D cameras. I don't know if anybody makes any currently, but some years ago they used to sell 3D cameras that gave you binocular vision of a picture instead of a single lens. They spread the lenses out and it would give you a 3D effect. Those I don't believe are sold anymore.
Okay.
Let me tell you that.
Do any of your photo apps do that?
Let me say something about 3D. And the Android phone, I don't know the brand, had a camera that had two lenses on the back, and you could take 3D pictures.
Okay.
But you know what? Nobody liked it, and it disappeared. I don't know what brand it was.
Jerry, do any of your apps do that?
No, it can't be done through an app, other than an illusion of software.
I think it's an illusion kind of thing.
Yeah,
I'll have to check that out. You know, honestly, I can't answer your question. By the way, you know how you take a panoramic picture?
Mm-hmm.
Well, this is an old piano. You know, people give churches junk that they don't want. And this church had to accept it. You shouldn't have accepted it, but it was an old beat up piano. And so I got by the piano. Instead of turning with my camera on the panel mode that you have in your iPhone, I walked straight across. I practiced. Then I took the camera and weaved it up and down as I walked.
Mm-hmm.
It's another effect, but Baha'i temple, inside the Baha'i.
Jerry, while you're paging through the pictures, I want to ask the crowd here. Go, you can continue paging through the pictures. But I'd like to ask the crowd if there's any preferences for future discussions during the photography SIG. If you have any preferences, please unmute and let us know.
Lots more.
How?
How do I say it?
Just talk.
Okay, I'd like to hear Jerry a lot more. This was fantastic.
Okay, we got one call for more Jerry. Okay, anybody else have anything?
I'd like to form a presentation that has various pieces of editing software, different types that does different kinds of things like we talked about before regarding the universe, putting me in a place where I can, get the perfect shot. Some of those software pieces that I use, like Topaz, Studio 2, and Trick Flicks, and a bunch of ones that for the Apple Store, you can get them in there. I'd like to see a presentation of editing that way, which is basically visioneering, which I could do if you'd like.
Yeah, I think that's in the schedule. Okay, anybody else?
You have something in the schedule about all the tools, or the tool, the Photos tool that Apple provides. I don't know if anybody's going to do anything on that. That would probably be a good one. So how photos work, how iCloud Photo Library works, that kind of stuff.
Right.
That might be kind of interesting to folks.
Yeah, that would be very good. I agree.
Anything else from the audience there?
If not, we'll have Jerry go back to some more photos.
I think he did 108 already.
You know, it's interesting. I keep putting things on and taking things off. And I think we all need things to do. Like right now in our homes, if we have any daylilies, they're starting to come out, some of the later ones. Different kinds of things we can shoot right in our own home. We don't have to walk down to the neighborhood. Botanic Gardens has opened up again in a limited way, if you like that kind of thing. But, you know, sometimes just the early mornings, the late afternoons, it's a good time to be out. It's not the hottest part of the day. And just walk around your neighborhood, wherever you live. And it could be a locust on the tree. It could be a crack in the sidewalk. It could be somebody's dog or dogs. And take pictures. Whip out that cell phone and take pictures.
Yeah, it's not like it used to be where you had to spend a lot of money on film and developing the film and getting it printed.
Absolutely. Although an exercise that, God, it's been like 50 years since I took a photo class, but an exercise that really helped me was when my photography teacher, and this was film days, okay? Yeah, you had 36 film rolls of 36, black and white, and he assigned me a corner of an Elgin corner where there's a hot dog stand. And it was the most uninteresting freaking corner. And he said, give me 72 interesting pictures. Okay. and start, taking pictures and make them interesting, whatever you think is interesting. And I can't leave the corner. So I took, close-ups and different, it really taught me to how to frame art, frame an interesting image into the camera. That's something people could do in their neighborhood, just like Jerry was saying. It's like, go into the most boring thing your at first impression is and see if you can get a bunch of really interesting photos out of it. And then if you can't, it's just erase. You didn't spend a dime. Just a thought.
One of the others is your backyard, right? Just go to your, if you got a backyard, you can't leave your backyard. Can't leave your backyard.
Right.
Spend an hour, spend 20 minutes, whatever. Time limit it, shoot more pictures. Yeah.
But interesting.
Oh, it's fun.
Right?
It's
It
fun.
has to be interesting pictures.
Yeah, make them pretty. Come on.
Jerry, did you have any of those moment lenses that you could show us?
Yes, I could.
Okay.
I'll tell you what, the easiest way to do it is let me get out of the iPhone.
Yep, go back to your full screen.
And go back to the full screen. Let's see. Window front, live. How do I get back to my full screen?
You did it earlier, didn't you? Just unplug your iPhone?
I unplugged the iPhone because I want to
back
show
on a full screen now.
Go to your view options.
Video, resume, new share.
You want to go to your camera, not your screen. You want to go to your camera. So change your view.
I can't show the stuff here. I got to show. I got to put it on here so you can see my hands and everything.
Right.
Yeah.
So you want to go switch to your camera. Don't show your computer screen. We're looking at your computer screen right now and it's black. So switch to your camera from your.
Well, I'm seeing him.
I'm not.
I'm seeing you now, but
Here is a 10x macro moment lens right here. Okay.
oh yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so that's a 10x macro. And this one is a 1.33 anamorphic. This is for stretching and making movie stuff. So it's special. And if it's going to be really hard even on this camera. Let me get it to focus on me. If you look at the top of that, you can see that little nub that sticks out. That's actually the mount, and it goes on the back of a case, and it's a 90-degree turn to put it in the special case that you have for the moment. And I don't see my case right at the moment.
Jerry, why don't you just stop sharing your screen and then Bob can go full screen.
Okay, I don't know how to do this.
Just kick it. I can take it away from him.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Okay. I got Jerry right now.
Yeah, hold on. Bob's going to take over the screen and he's going to show us some of the moment lenses.
Okay.
Did I get it?
Not yet.
Hang on. Hang on a second.
There you go.
All right, now switch to full screen, Bob.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing.
There you go.
All right. So can everybody see it? Okay. Is it good? It's not, this isn't the greatest light. Hang on.
I see it. It
Yeah,
works.
let me add some light to the subject. Hang on a second.
For the rest of the audience out there, make sure that you are in speaker view mode so that Bob is much larger than just the little square.
Yeah, that's going to be too bright. Hang on a second.
It wasn't bad before, Bob.
Yeah. What I'm trying to do is just get a little light on it so you can see the, there we go. Now we're getting there. You can see, if I shine this light on it, you can see the back of the lens, and
Right.
that's the little mount that goes in the case that goes on your phone. So the lenses are mounted on a case. So what they've changed them out a couple of years ago, so they'll work on almost any device. So you buy, if you don't have to get new lenses, you have to get a new case, and they have a bunch of different cases. So this lens here is a 10x macro lens. That gets you up really close. And the reason for this little shield is because typically with something that you would actually put it right down where your subject is, and that lets the light in for the macro to work. Okay.
Oh,
And the other one these are the only two that I have handy. This is a very specialized lens. It's an anamorphic lens, and it's designed to do things that they do in movies, to make widescreen movies. So it changes the aspect ratio of the camera you're shooting with. And then there's a special piece of software used that squeezes the image and plays games with anamorphic. This is a kind of a specialized crazy lens for when you're shooting videos. Okay.
And also
And
for Moment.
say what? Yeah, these are both Moment lenses, right? Yeah, these are both Moment.
and they're
So,
on the case mounted.
yeah, they both they all mount on their case. That little, let me get it in the light. You can see with the background, that little nub that sticks out the back.
Mhm.
Okay, is how they twist on a 90-degree twist lock. And I don't have the case on my phone right now, otherwise I'd show you on the phone.
Let's see if I can get the screen now.
Yeah, just highlight Jerry.
Okay, where's Jerry? Jerry,
I got him. I spotlighted him. There he is.
He's muted.
I'll unmute him.
Okay, now, okay, you got me up?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay,
You can't see you got to get the lens, get it into your picture. Get it near your face because it'll be out of focus. Bring it up near your face. There you go. There we go. Now get the reflection.
what it is, it's a little snap-on, and it's about $25. So if you get a new phone and they change it, you just spend another $25 and put the case on. And some other time I'll show some other things I have. Like I have two kinds of stabilizers. I have a DJI stabilizer, and I have another free fly stabilizer. There you can see a little bit, but they're just a quarter turn. They go in, and I use the telephoto the most. So this is a 2x telephoto, and put another telephoto on top of it, and I got a 4x telephoto. Works pretty nice. Really does. So I can get up pretty close to dragonflies and things like that.
What do the lenses cost?
$99 to $100.
Hmm.
The one that Bob showed is a little bit more. The anamorphic ones is a little bit more, but most of them are $99. Telephoto, wide angle, which I don't need anymore because now Apple's put in that super wide. So I use basically the telephoto, the macro, and
That's probably the two you use the most.
yeah, those are what I use the most, the telephoto and the macro.
Very nice.
Good, very nice.
Okay, is there any other questions out there?
I use a selfie stick a lot. I have 3 different ones. One is so small, I can just put in a large pocket of my pants or vest, photo vest. And then I have one that's really big because I can get down on the ground, but I have trouble getting up.
Use the selfie stick as a
We all do.
crutch
Yes,
at that
it's a
point.
perfect way to get
We
up.
all do. Jerry, question from Dom. The upcoming iPhone 12, which is being assembled somewhere in China for us. I have an 8 Plus. I've had 8 Plus. It's been fine, but I'm going to treat myself to a iPhone 12. How will the cameras, or how do we know? What is the rumor about the iPhone 12, and how will it differ with what you have now as far as camera lenses goes?
I've read some of the rumors, and people say, well, it's a rumor and I'm just guessing. I don't know what this is. But they always get better. And the operating system gets better, and then the chip gets better. And I've been told now that the new phones coming out will have Intel chips. It may be a year until they actually have their own chips that they're going to be making. But I can say this, Tom, it's probably going to be better than mine. And I'll tell you this, 11 Pro is one incredible camera. It just is.
I take that on the 12 if that's all we get, but Apple has always improved their cameras, optics, and megapixels every new iteration. And so I'm hoping that they'll continue in that vein.
I think we wait till September and find out, because the rumor mill right now is a disaster. There's nothing credible out there.
Yeah.
There's one thing about an iPhone, you know, since it's such a hot piece of electronics right now, that the development of the iPhone allows for newer, better cameras every year. And as far as the chip you were talking about, Jerry, now you gotta make sure that you make it clear that we're talking about the imaging chip for the camera and not the CPU chip.
The ARM CPU is different.
The night mode that they have on the 11 is incredible. You know they're going to improve that. So low, you still have to have light. Under low light conditions, really get a good picture.
Yep.
Pretty neat.
A lot of the improvement over the years with iPhone has been in the software and the way the software handles the photo. In night mode is just taking 3 pictures and blending it as an HDR. So
yeah,
actually, I think if you look at the algorithm, it's a little bit more complicated. So if you want to go totally crazy, this is how you go totally crazy. So there's a company called Beast Grip, okay, and this is a Beast Grip mount for phones. So it gives me all kinds of places to attach things. And they make a very special mount here. This is a 37 millimeter screw-on lens mount for other kinds of lenses. And this, I have a couple, 3 of these, where you screw the lens onto this frame, and that's your lens mount. And then you can mount this on a tripod or on a moving vehicle or whatever you want, however it needs to go. And so I can take my video light and attach it on top, and et cetera. And this lets you do all kinds of crazy stuff. And so that's just, this is, oops, and I hit the microphone, it goes up in my face. So there are so many ways that you can go crazy, but don't do it. Don't do it. It's crazy. Don't do it. There are the cameras that we've got inside of our phones are so good. This stuff is so specialized. It's like, I don't need the wide angle lens that I have anymore on my iPhone. I haven't used it since the iPhone 11 Pro, because the wide angle lens on the 11 Pro is perfect. It's just exactly what I needed. Okay. So, you have to balance all those craziness. There are specific use cases that we have for some things. That's fine. That's great. And you can go crazy with this stuff. We haven't even talked about things like 360 cameras yet too much. Have you, Jeff? I don't think.
Coming up.
Coming up.
Oh, good. Yeah, that'll be fun.
I've got mine right here, so we'll get into it in another day.
All right. Oh, you got the new one.
Yeah, you bet.
I'm a version behind.
I made money with it the other day. I shot a virtual tour of a house.
Good. How did it come out? Are you happy with it?
It was so easy, and it was great. And the customer was extremely happy with it.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
Well, we're about 15 minutes over, Jeff. What do you think?
Yeah, I think we should call it. So I appreciate everybody coming out tonight and listening in. Keep an eye out on the community. We'll try to put some of the stuff that Jerry has turned over to me. He's got a list of his favorite apps on the phone to use with the camera. We'll get that out on the community. And once I find a place to store a bunch of different tutorials, we're going to put a link on the community also, so you can get out to a whole group of tutorials that I've been collecting over the years here.
Good.
It should help you with all kinds of different photography, whether it's DSLR all the way back down to an iPhone. So thank you all for coming out. And we do this again every month on the, what do we got? The second
Third Wednesday.
The third Wednesday, I'm sorry, third Wednesday at 7 o'clock. So we'll see you in August, and keep in touch.
Cheers.
Cheers, everybody.
Okay, thank you, everybody. Thank you, Jerry.
You bet.
Stay healthy, everybody.
Yeah. Jeff, you want me to kill the YouTube?
Sure.